Well, obviously, the first thing to say is that if at all possible, you do not talk
Okay.
to a narcissist. The best kind of communication with a narcissist is precisely no communication. No contact is always going to be the best option if it is at all possible. Unfortunately, there are situations in which you do have to talk to a narcissist to some degree, and therefore you have to create a whole other way to talk to a narcissist. Normally, we use conversation for communication.
Mhm.
That's kind of normal in everyday life. If you do have to talk to a narcissist, then you are using language to shut down communication and to only impart the things that are least damaging. So it's a whole different strategy that you have to use.
When you say least damaging,
Mm.
in other words, we would need to make sure we're filtering out what we're giving information, the information we're giving out,
Yes.
because, well, they're going to use it, as it were, against us at some point in time.
Yes, you have to filter out any information that they can use against you. You also have to filter out your old patterns of being a nice person, trying to meet them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
halfway, expecting empathy, and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So the normal patterns that humans are supposed to interact and communicate,
Yes,
we've got to alter that, if not stop it altogether, because when we're dealing with them, they're seeing that as a weakness. Then correct me if I'm saying that wrong.
yes. Narcissists are always looking for vulnerability. They're looking for the chink in your armor that they can shove a spear through.
Wow.
So you always have to think in terms of um, keeping your defenses up. So, particularly as a woman, if you're talking to someone, you might well say, I think the best thing to do would be.
Okay.
You can't do that with a narcissist. You know, the instantly the comeback will be, well, either you're wrong or you would think that, or who cares what you think. So you'd have to change that to this is what's going to happen.
Okay. So
This is
yeah.
the right way.
Little
So
bit more assertive. Then is that what you mean? So just be a.
just a tad.
Okay. Got it.
So it's actually talking like a boss, or
Okay.
as it works in practice, using their language patterns back to them.
Okay. Now, their language patterns, we would have to have an idea of what that is then, or how do we use their language pattern back to them?
First of all, with saying this is the way it is,
Mm-hmm.
and not leaving the way open for debate. That's
Mm-hmm.
one way of doing it. Then, one of the other lovely ones that I enjoy and my clients are now using to great effect is this thing of when you talk to a narcissist and you ask them for something, they will habitually say no, and you kind of say, why not? Or, you know, something along those lines. And they say, because I just can't.
Wow.
I just can't. And it's very effective to use that back to them. You and I both know that that is an idiotic statement
Yeah.
because I just can't.
Yeah.
But when you use it back to a narcissist, they often go, oh, okay.
They
Or
they
if,
they're stuck. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were going to say.
yes, or if they don't get it the first time, you just shake your head and go, I just can't. And they tend to go, okay, I get that. That resonates with me.
But at the same time, they won't pursue it anymore because they recognize that particular language, because that's the language they use, is what you're saying. So
Yeah,
they know that's what they would say, and they don't want to
yes.
be pursued on it, so they'll leave you alone. They'll leave. Let's say it's me. They'll leave me alone.
They're,
When
they're,
it go ahead,
yeah,
please. No, please go ahead.
it tends to be a kind of block. But you have to think of a narcissist as a Hydra.
Okay.
The Hydra in Greek mythology that was all those snakes on the
Mm-hmm.
top of the head. So you've managed to deal with one snake. Of course, there'll be plenty more. This is not the end of the war, it's the end of that particular battle.
Right. And don't get consumed about they're going to come back with more. Just
Mm,
deal with that one in that
mm,
one given situation.
mm.
Now, a lot of people try to be prepared. They get information from many different multiple sources on how to talk to a narcissist and how to deal with a narcissist. Uh, a boss, a relative, a parent, whatever it may be, you're saying this information that you're giving is putting us where we have the power. We're
Yeah,
not being consumed by the narcissist, is what you're highlighting.
I think that's always the most powerful way to do it. That the whole issue with a narcissist is that you've totally lost your power. And when you play their game linguistically, you will lose because you're fighting for a toehold in the situation. When you play your game your way, it all starts to change because whether you win or lose that particular exchange, at least you've done something,
Right.
and you get better at it. My clients actually have quite a lot of fun with it.
So once we are able, if I was able to master this art of speaking to a narcissist, then
Mm.
you're saying I have no need to be sweating every time I see that individual coming because all we need to do is stick to, as you said, our skill, our game.
Pretty much, yes. Once you once you start to understand how to play them, and you do
Mm.
have to play them, you will become more confident. That doesn't mean you won't get triggered.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
A lot of this stuff that I talk about comes out of my one-on-one work with clients. There's one I was talking with yesterday, and she's done wonderful things with her narcissist. He co-parents and he is a total pain in the backside.
Mm-hmm.
So every request that he sends her, because basically spending time with his own kids is an effort, and every request he sends her about that
Yeah.
doesn't just come as a request, it comes with a load of abuse. And
Mm-hmm.
she found that very triggering. However, she started to deal with it a whole lot better. So recently she replied to him a screed of abuse and garbage, which she replied to saying, "Your failure to participate in civilized communication has been noted."
I love it.
Yes. To which all he could say is that all you've got to say? Which is really weak. But then more recently, he attacked her, and he actually managed a stereophonic attack. It was him and his brother. That overwhelmed her, so she was triggered, but she came across in the response that she gave as very strong. So, yes, because of the old patterns of triggering you, you can feel triggered, but you can still show up as strong. And then as you own your own strength, that patterned response is less likely to kick in. And when it does kick in, it doesn't kick in for the same length of time.
Okay. Making sure to own our own strength. I love the way you said that.
Mm.
And a number of things here. Stereophonic attack, failure to participate. That's a great way to say that. But when
Yes.
we own our own strength, now the narcissist knows that we understand the type of situation they're trying to put us in. Do they kind of figure out that hey, we figured them out, or are they just is it still flying over their head? They have no idea what we're doing. That we're staying in our own strength.
Well, to stick with this particular client, because
Okay.
this has kind of been an in-depth study of her narcissist, who's
Okay.
very much like everybody else's narcissist, because they're all the same.
Okay.
On the one hand, he sends her these abusive messages saying, "You've changed. I can't believe what a bitter, horrible person you've
Wow.
become," which is actually a compliment because it means you're not the pushover I expected you to be anymore. So
Right.
that's a win.
Hmm.
So, on the one hand, there's a level of awareness that they have. But on the other, when they start from the premise that they're the smartest person on the planet, they stay with that because they have to stay with that. So you show up in totally different ways
Hmm.
and they don't get it. They still think that they have to keep winning. So you change your game. They don't know to change their game. It doesn't work as well for them as it did before, but the person with the most mental agility wins. And that person will be the survivor, not the narcissist, once the survivor knows how to do it. Does this make sense?
Okay, that makes a lot. That I really understand it even better now that you said that,
Mm.
because they start to recognize that even though they're trying to be that person who is winning all the time, they don't have the mental agility to keep up with the adjustments that we've made. Uh,
Yes.
so I'm going to throw a scenario out because actually it was something that someone sent me, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to throw it out to you on how to talk to a narcissist. So someone is at work, and their boss, narcissistic traits or disorder person has, he's being his typical narcissistic boss way. The young lady writes, she's wondering, how do I go into meetings with him when she seems to be the person he always seems to pick on in front of everyone else? Everyone else gets the information. She doesn't. She shows up to the meeting. Everyone else got the email. She didn't. And then he continues to show as if she's not being a responsible team person.
Well, I think there are various pieces there. One is she needs to get rid of her internal narrative that she sees herself as inadequate because he paints her as inadequate. So there's a whole piece of work there that she needs to do on herself.
Right.
Another one is, um, well, I would start to preempt. One, check up with other people ahead of time if they've got information that she hasn't got. Two, send an email to the person, presumably the boss, who should have sent that email, and just say, just checking in with you. I know there's an email that's come out and I haven't received it. Would you mind sending it to me?
Right. Right. Some preemptive work and
Hmm.
follow up she needs to do, as
Yeah.
well as internal narrative. This can prove beneficial even if it's a romantic relationship, right? Pretty much if you know that person is telling everyone else one thing and leaving you out. So
Yeah.
preemptive work, I don't know. You were going to
Yeah.
say,
Well, I was going to say that if you're in a relationship with someone who's playing these stupid games, you have to ask yourself, why are you bothering? You know,
yeah, it's different if it's a job, I guess. And even then you could say
yes.
I could leave the job. But in a relationship, right? It's
Yes.
childish games.
Yes, why do you want to be with someone who's making you look like a fool in public?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
There's there's a program that you have. You have your break free program. I really wanted to get this in. A lot of it has to do with the last time we were on. I mentioned the program, and then I got a few
Mhm.
people. I don't get hate mail, but I got a few people, viewers on YouTube, that said, "Well, you didn't talk about the program," and
Wow.
I was like, "We were talking about other things." So I'm gonna make sure to clear this up today, so everyone can see the program. We're gonna put it up on the screen for everyone, and there it is. In actuality, here, let's do this. I'll scroll all the way to the top.
Mm.
This program that you have is, as it were, an invitation for individuals to break free from narcissistic abuse and the
Yeah.
pain that it causes, and to heal their heart. But I
Yeah.
love this other aspect that you put in for them to regain their self-worth and find
Yeah.
peace and happiness and rebuild their life. So this is more than just the program. To my viewers, I'm saying that you just become a part of. You're essentially helping a person to focus on recovery more than the narcissist.
Totally. Obviously, you have to rework your experience, but the whole thing is learning these skills of believing in yourself when you don't believe in yourself. That's a skill. That's not magic that either happens or doesn't. It's about learning how to deal with a narcissist. It's like about learning how to spot people, how to have boundaries, how to do all the things that will keep you safe in the future and allow you to show up as the rounded human being that you actually are. What happens in a narcissistic relationship is that you become invisible. You become worthless and invisible to yourself. So it's not just about narcissistic abuse, it's about reclaiming the self that you've even forgotten that you were. And I'm seeing this in particular in a client of mine who, when I first met her, she was the most frightened mouse on the planet. She was this sort
Hmm.
of quiet little apologetic person. She was saying to me, I know it sounds stupid, but, and apologizing for herself all the time. Well, since she's been doing this work, she has actually um, reclaimed her inner rock chick. And she actually is
I
a
love it.
rock chick.
I love it.
She's amazing. I have seen her on stage now. She hadn't done it for
Nice.
years, but she's got this presence and this dynamism, and she's out there, and
Wow.
that's who she really is. And it's about reclaiming that self that had got totally lost.
So she really was playing a part that she thought that's who she was.
She'd become this apologetic little person with no value and literally no voice. And now she's on stage bellowing out her songs. She's a good singer. But yeah, and that's essentially what happens to all of us. Not all of us are actual rock stars, but we all lose ourselves. We
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
forget that we are assertive, dynamic, sassy women. And that's a much more exciting way to live.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean into something here. I want to ask you before we have to go. For all of you that are here today, this is going to be a show that we're going to end in just a little bit. With so thankful for the time that we were able to spend with uh, Annie here. I'm sorry, Annie. I'm pulling up something here. You got a comment that I'm going to put on the screen in just a moment. But I
Okay.
want to ask you this. Thank you for sending us a comment there. Who we got there? That looks like Metatech sent us a comment. We're going to get to that in just a second for Annie. But I wanted to put this up on the screen. We both are here, just in case you're wondering. You just can't see us. I wanted to highlight this, Annie. You have a statement here that you made on this website. For all of you, please, I'm going to read this website to you. Go to breakingoldpatterns.com/break hyphen free. So breakingoldpatterns.com. Go to that website. You'll be able to get more information and go to exactly where I am right now and join her break free program. There's a statement here that says, you say, so I went on a personal development and healing journey. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of times I hear people say that they're going on a journey, but it's a healing journey. You mentioned the two words, personal development.
Hmm.
I know you recommend that to other individuals, but why is it that people need to open up their minds to making personal development and not just healing?
I think that those of us who have grown up in abuse and been abused are so underskilled emotionally. We are so limited. Been boxed into such a small space that we really don't know how to do being ourselves and relating to other people and how to do confidence and how to do boundaries. And we just have a huge amount to learn. We don't know how on earth to do being in this world in a way that works for us.
Yeah. And so you mentioned the rock star.
Mm.
I love that you said she's now a rock star because she has presence. So
And
before she didn't have
skills.
that. She found that personal development was a part of the healing journey.
Yeah.
Growing. Yeah.
Yeah, amongst the things that she's learned in the last little while, she's had health issues.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she has learned how to talk to doctors in such a way that she garners plenty of attention and gets seen as an individual rather than a problem, which makes a huge
Uh,
difference. She's learned how to talk to lawyers. She's learned how to manage narcissists and not be intimidated by them. She's learned how to tell people to back off when they need to. And she's learned how to stop feeling hollow and empty and sad. She's learned how to manage her mood and feel good about herself
Absolutely great.
and let
She
go of the past.
and let go of the past. In letting
Mm.
go of the past, you mentioned something there to not see herself, to rather to see herself as an individual. You said not a problem. I've
Yeah.
never heard anybody say that before. That is very encouraging.
Well, yeah. And God knows, as anybody who's had dealings with doctors know, you have to be an individual or you will not get good
Um,
treatment. And that
yeah,
goes throughout life, basically. The more you can present yourself as someone who they connect to on a human level, the more people will be inclined to help you.
yeah. You have a comment here from Metatech. Look over here.
Yeah,
Metatech says if you're gray rocking, you can't tell a narc honestly how horrible they're being.
yeah,
So that
absolutely not. But it's a totally pointless thing to do. Narcissists both know and don't care how vile they're being. The reason that you need to tell them that they're being horrible because you need them to hear it and validate it before you own it. When you feel and you trust yourself to believe that if you think they're being vile and horrible, then you don't need them to say that. So wanting to tell a narcissist how horrible they're being is actually you abdicating your own power to judge.
wow, that's really good. He has another comment for us before we go
Mhm.
today. He says, Metatech says, you can not correct a narcissist. They will not listen to you. If they do, and take great offense. So if
It's
they do
exact,
listen, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead,
it's
please.
exactly the same issue all over again. Why do you need to correct a narcissist? You don't want to be having that kind of dialogue. You have you don't have a dialogue. If you have to talk to them, you just tell them how it is, how
Oh,
things are. But you don't enter into that thing. If they're not listening, they're not listening.
yeah.
And you just smile and say, I knew you wouldn't listen.
Oh man, I'm writing that one down. Okay, so we have talked about a number of different tips and tools that you can apply when you have to talk with a narcissist.
Mm,
At many times, we can get caught up in trying to, as you put it, uh, get them to change or see things a certain
mm,
way. We need to kind of step back from judging that,
mm,
but essentially hold on to being an individual. Uh,
mm. Yes,
there's
and
so many points here. I'm going to put in the show notes for everybody because a number of you said that even
great.
last time we got together. I still have those show notes. I will put them in for everybody. What she
Wow,
said last time. I have 2 pages of show notes from the
great.
last time we talked. I have not forgot. Some of you have wrote me privately. I will put them in the posting on YouTube
Wow.
so
And
that you can take a look at what she said. Annie, please go ahead.
yes, well, obviously, this is only the tip of the
Yeah.
iceberg. There's
Yes.
so much more to
Yes.
say. Honestly, it seems to have become one of my specialist subjects, together with what on earth
Yeah.
Putin is doing in Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed. I've noticed. This is a subject that you do very extensive postings on this and talking about it. You're very good at it. I look forward to our third time to get together. Today is a
Mhm.
brief show, everybody. We're going to spend more time together. Hopefully next time and to get some of your comments in. I know a number of you said you're going to just sit and listen today. I noticed that was the case. Thank you for stopping by and being here. Annie, always a pleasure to see you. I thought you were talking about the rocker chick. I thought you were talking about yourself with the leather jacket on today.
Oh, no. No, believe me, you do not want to hear me sing. And it's always a pleasure
Yes,
to
we do.
sit with
Yes,
you.
we do.
Really, it's funny, but not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Okay, so on the way out, this is totally live, of course, improv. I'm gonna ask, can you, before we could say goodbye, 1, 2, maybe 3 songs that you truly like that are your favorites? Just 3 songs, no singing. I'm just, of course, unless you want to, give us, 1, 2, 3 songs that you like. Your
Oh my
top
goodness.
favorites.
God, you have absolutely got me there.
Yes.
My mind is a total blank. That is so unfair. But Taylor Swift is always good for me.
Okay. All right. Who else? Taylor Swift. Name another artist.
Natasha Bedingfield. There's one
Okay.
particular song. Feel the Rain on Your Face, or whatever it's called.
She's my favorite. Okay.
Yeah, she's brilliant. And Martine McBride.
Okay.
Martine
All right.
McBride.
Another one of my favorites. Okay. Well, that's 3.
Broken Wing.
Broken Wing. Okay. Broken Wing.
Yes.
Martina
That will
McBride.
do.
Okay. And Natasha Bedingfield. That's beautiful. And Taylor Swift. We've learned a little bit more about you that you can't find anywhere else unless it's here at Narc Abuse TV Network about Dr. Annie Kaszina, PhD. Your 3 songs that she likes, you'll never hear that anywhere else. And if you do, it's after we asked her first. Okay, so thank you, my friend. Lovely and beautiful as usual. Enjoyed it a great deal. We'll see you next time, everybody. We'll see you again. Actually, we have another show in about an hour from now. But right now, please, whatever you do, go to Annie's website, go to her Instagram page, and make sure you sign up for the Break Free program, because this, trust me, is the tip of the iceberg of what this beautiful woman knows. Thank you very much for this, your evening and my daytime, and us coming together. I'll see you again.
Thank you, Paxton.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.